morning, ladies and gentlemen, and greetings from Strasbourg. I wanted to share you about the position from the European Commission perspective. As you know, since Russia launched the war against Ukraine, the European Commission has presented several proposals how we will end our dangerous dependence on Russian fossil fuels. And the latest proposal was called Repower EU. This is our plan on how exactly to do that, to get rid of this dependency. And of course, the core of this proposal is accelerating our renewables, and renewables will be at the heart of our plan. And that means that green hydrogen will also need to step up its ambition. In fact, we plan to produce 10 million tons of renewable hydrogen domestically. And on top of that, we plan to import 10 million tons of renewable hydrogen from abroad by 2030. And it is just 2 years since our hydrogen strategy was published. Already then, 2 years ago, our ambition was high, but now we are going much higher. And there are 4 areas we need to get right to see the results. So these 4 areas are supply and demand, investment, infrastructure, and international cooperation. So let me give you an idea of the challenges of each. Firstly, it's clear that we will need less natural gas. We will replace natural gas with renewable gases, with renewable hydrogen. And this both in industrial and transport sectors. So sectors that we call hard to abate sectors, heavy duty trucks, aviation, maritime transport. By our estimates, renewable hydrogen could replace 27 billion cubic meters of imported Russian natural gas, and also 4.7 BCM of imported Russian oil. And on top of that, also some coking coal that, for example, was until now, before we launched the sanctions against coal, what was used in steel production. So steel production can also use hydrogen. And because we need to create a well-functioning hydrogen market, we will support this plan with our legislative proposals. The most prominent one is the Renewable Energy Directive, and we are proposing that our renewable target share of our energy mix should be 45% by 2030. So existing target is only 32. We have also invited the European Parliament and Council to align the sub-targets for renewable fuels of non-biological origin, both for industry and transport. And at the same time, we launched a public consultation of 2 delegated acts that set the requirement for the production of renewable hydrogen to come together with additional renewable power generation. And we are now currently assessing the replies we got from stakeholders, and we will finalize the text over the summer. And once adopted, the delegated acts will provide a definition of renewable hydrogen, and investors will have the clarity they need to capitalize this hydrogen boost across the EU. That said, the plans need to be built on a strong foundation of capital. Investments in the hydrogen value chain need to follow in the coming years. We will assess the state aid notification for hydrogen projects as a matter of priority, and we will top up Horizon Europe investments on the hydrogen joint undertaking with 200 million euros. The Commission also doubles the funding under the Innovation Fund to around 3 billion euros to support hydrogen applications in industry. And this adds to the existing funds under Connecting Europe facility, another fund that can now also finance investments in electrolyzers. Private investors, of course, will need to do the heavy lifting to complement this public money. And that's why I very much appreciate the foresight that electrolyzer manufacturers in Europe are showing. They have committed to tenfold increase of their capacity to manufacture electrolyzers. So the target is 70.5 gigawatts by 2025. And that's exactly the type of momentum we need if we are going to reach our hydrogen goals. Well, infrastructure is also necessary. Hydrogen without the infrastructure to get it where it needs, where it will be consumed, this is a challenge. And when you think about the scale of what we are trying to achieve, you realize that infrastructure needs to come a long way. So importing and transporting 20 million tons of hydrogen by 2030 is a priority, and work is ongoing. The basis to kickstart its development has already been set. Hydrogen infrastructure is now included in the revised Trans-European Networks for Energy. We intend to complete the assessment of the first important projects of common European interest, IPCIs, on hydrogen this summer. And another call for projects is expected to take place early next year. And another milestone was the Commission proposal for hydrogen network and market regulation. It came under the hydrogen gas markets decarbonization package, and it sets the basic market rules for the end use and for the use of also dedicated infrastructure for hydrogen. And it makes it clear that the future hydrogen network will also subject to market principles such as third-party access or ownership unbundling. And to go even further, we also have done a preliminary mapping, which are our needs, so based on 10-year regulation. And this will be a joint effort across member states and national regulatory authorities, ACER, NSOG, project promoters, and other stakeholders, and the work will be ready by the March 2023. And as I was mentioning, international angle is also very important. We need to step up our international efforts. As I said, already when we released hydrogen strategy, we stated that Europe doesn't exist in a vacuum, and tapping into and boosting the global hydrogen sector makes us stronger. Not all demand can be met by domestic production, and developing green hydrogen partnerships should allow us to import more while supporting the decarbonization of our partner countries. So, for instance, last month, we just signed a memorandum of understanding with Israel and Egypt, and that MOU includes a cooperation clause on hydrogen production as well, in view of the future imports to Europe. The imports of hydrogen to the EU are most cost efficient by pipelines from the EU neighborhood. This is why we will support the development of 3 major hydrogen import corridors via the Mediterranean, also from North Sea and from Ukraine. And lastly, we want to establish a dedicated work stream on joint renewable hydrogen purchasing under the EU energy platform. So to sum up, the Commission has a very concrete added value in the hydrogen purchase. We can support demand or create demand as necessary. We can help attract hydrogen from third countries. And finally, we can facilitate import infrastructure to bring the hydrogen where consumers do need it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will achieve our ambitious targets only with the help of the private sector. We are seeing concrete investment decisions into both small and large-scale hydrogen projects taking already place. I mentioned earlier that the first list of European hydrogen projects will be announced in the next weeks. We're talking about 41 projects in 15 member states, investing in the development and manufacturing of electrolyzers, of fuel cells, of technologies to power heavy-duty vehicles or for the safe storage of hydrogen. And we will kickstart large industry-driven investments, which are worth well over 50 billion euros. And Spain itself is also a clear acting ground. So in the first months of 2022, Spain hosted more than 20% of all hydrogen projects announced globally. And a recent market analysis shows that by 2030, most European countries can produce renewable hydrogen and the price is relatively competitive, so ranges between 2 and 2.5 euros per kilo. This means that investing in renewable hydrogen projects today does not only make sense from a climate and energy security perspective, but it will be also necessary for supplying the European industry with clean and competitive energy. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2020, we brought out our hydrogen strategy. In 2021, we brought out proposals for the markets for renewable and low carbon hydrogen. This year, 2022, we presented the Hydrogen Accelerator as part of the Repower EU, and we are now focused on delivering in its implementation. And next year, early next year, 2023, we will map the needs for hydrogen infrastructure, and we are making progress on all fronts. And we want to bring as many stakeholders as possible with us along this way. So use the next 2 days to your advantage. I hope we can add a number of concrete hydrogen projects by the end of this conference. Thank you.